First Flight Textbook in English for Class 10. I am explaining the 8th chapter, Mijbil The Otter by Maxwell. Before you read, one special idea is given about the author. Maxwell lives in a cottage in Camusferna in the West Highlands in Scotland when his dog Johnny died. So he was very sad that he could never think of keeping a dog again. But his life without a pet was very lonely. So what happened after that? Actually, he made one another pet. So this is one story, or you can say real life experience of the author, that how he took one pet, that is otter. First part is given. Early in the new year of 1956, he traveled, means the author traveled to southern Iraq. By then, it had crossed my mind. My, I, these nouns are used for the author, that is given Maxwell. Then he started thinking that he should like to keep an otter instead of a dog, and that Camusferna, ringed by water a stone's throw from its door, would be an eminently suitable spot for this experiment. Means he started thinking it may be possible for him to get one otter because water was nearby him. When he casually mentioned this to a friend, when he shared this idea with his friend, he as casually replied, and his friend took very casually, means he was not surprised, that he had better get one in Tigris marshes, for there they were as common as mosquitoes. He was suggested by his friend that he could get one otter from Tigris marshes because they are many in that areas, like mosquitoes are very common and were often tamed by the Arabs. And it is not surprising thing. Actually, they were often made pet by the Arabs. Then the author and his friend, they were going to Basra, this is name of one place, to the consulate general to collect and answer our mail from Europe. Means they were going with one work. At the consulate general, we found that my friend's mail had arrived, but that mine had not. Means the author couldn't complete his work. So he cabled to England, and when 3 days later nothing had happened, he tried to telephone. Means first he sent one message, that is by telegraph, but he got no response. Then he rang. The call had to be booked 24 hours in advance. On the first day, the line was out of order. On the second, the exchange was closed for a religious holiday, means he couldn't get one contact because of one or another reason. On the third day, there was another breakdown. Then he got one more news. My friend left, means his friend left him, and he arranged to meet him in a week's time. Then he had to meet him in week. 5 days later, my mail arrived. Then he got his answer. I carried it to my bedroom to read. Then he went to his bedroom because he was curious to know that. And there, squatting on the floor, were two Arabs. Means what happened? There were two Arabs. Beside them, nearby them, lay a sack. Sack means one bag that is usually made of jute that squirmed from time to time. Means the sack was just twisting here or there. They handed me a note from my friend. So this was the answer. Means his friend sent one mail and it was written, "Here is your otter." So now the story starts, means how the author got one otter. Now, second part is given. With the opening of that sack began a phase of my life that has not yet ended and may, for all I know, not end before I do. So, what is the simple or important idea given? When he opened that sack, his life was totally changed. New phase, new layer of life started for him, and he didn't know when it will be ended. Means he was so excited. Now the personal experience or story goes. It is in effect a thraldom to otters, an otter fixation. that I have since found to be shared by most other people who have ever owned one. Means it is given how they can be under control. Means it is one fixation he has to share with some fellows because some people had one. The creature that emerged from the sack onto the spacious tiled floor of the consulate bedroom resembled most of all a very small, medievally conceived dragon. Means it was new experience for the author when the creature came out of that sack. He just sat on the floor and it was looking like small dragon from the head to the tip of the tail. He was coated with symmetrical pointed scales of mud armor. Means he had special scales like dragons or snakes have, and it was filled with mud. It was looking like that he was covered with mud shield, between whose tips was visible a soft velvet fur like that of a chocolate brown mole. He was looking like chocolatey brown mole, velvety shade, velvety texture was there. He shook himself because he was covered with mud. Then I half expected, means the author could not expect, he couldn't hope, a cloud of dust even, but in fact, for the next total month, he had to check how the otter went on changing colors because he was removing daily a lot of mud from his body. Then he was able to check that otter in its true colors. Mijbil means this was the name got by the author from his new owner, that is author. Miss Bill, as he started calling, was in fact of a race previously unknown to science. Means earlier it was not known, it was new creature and was at length christened by geologist Lutero Gale Perspicillata Maxwelli or Maxwell's otter. Means earlier it was not known. Then it was named by geologists that was called Maxwell Otter. Then, for the first 24 hours, Mijbil was neither hostile nor friendly. Means Otter didn't become quickly friendly towards the author. No, he was simply aloof and different. Means he was not coming near the author, rather he was keeping a distance, choosing to sleep on the floor as far as from my bed as possible. Means he was making specially a difference from the author, and he went on sleeping on the floor at a quite different or far away place from the author. But the second night, Miss Bill came onto my bed in the small hours and remained asleep in the crook of my knees until the servant brought tea in the morning, and during the day he began to lose his apathy and take a keen, much too keen interest in his surroundings. So it must be clear that on the first day he was just not interested in keeping friendship with the author. But second day he thought that he got new master, that's why he came near the author and he got nice sleep in the special fold of his knees, and he was feeling comfortable, and slowly he started taking great interest. Means he started losing his apathy. Apathy means indifference that he was showing earlier, but now he started taking interest in his surrounding. A great curiosity he started getting to know about his surrounding, where he was then. I made a body belt for him. Means then body belt was made, and the author took him on to a lead to the bathroom. Bathroom was his special place where for half an hour he went wild with joy in the water. He became excited because he started plunging and rolling in it. Means he started enjoying his special bath by just diving, shooting up and down, going up, down the length of the bathtub underwater because they are called watery creatures and making enough slosh and splash for a hippo. Means he was making a lot of noise by splashing the water. This I was to learn. Then it was a new lesson for the author, that is a special trait of otters. Is for the first time he got about the quality of otters, that every drop of water must be, so to speak, extended and spread about the place. means every single drop of water they want to be spread here or there. Otherwise, there is no enjoyment in taking a bath. A bowl must at once be overturned. Means they every time want one bowl of water should be just rolled here or there. Or if it will not be overturned, be sat in and splosh in until it overflows. If by chance it is not done, then they want to sit in the water and they want to splash till they drown or go under the water. Water must be kept on the move and made to do things. Means they really like the water to be moving so that something may happen. The idea is very clear that they want liveliness and they feel very excited in water. When static, means when water is silent, it is wasted and provoking. Means it is just waste and it can make them angry too. So this special trait was caught by author for the first time about the otters. Then after 2 days, very interesting thing happened. Mijbil escaped from his bedroom. When he turned to see his trail disappearing round the bend of the corridor that led to the bathroom. Means he started checking that Otter was interested in going to the bathroom. By the time I got there, he was up on the end of the bathtub. Means he reached near the bathtub and fumbling at the chromium taps with his paws. Means he was trying to just open the tap in a very awkward manner. I watched, means the author was just watching. He wanted to check him. He was totally surprised. In less than 1 minute, he had turned the tap far enough to produce a trickle of water because he was able to open the tap. He was able to get a nice trickle, slow moving of water just in a minute, and after a moment or two achieved the full flow, and slowly the water was running in full volume. He had been lucky to turn the tap the right way. This time he was successful in just opening the tap in the perfect form. On other occasions, he would sometimes screw it up still tighter because sometimes they do just opposite. Rather, they can make it tight, chittering with irritation. Then they are just crying with irritation, means they become very upset, very annoyed and disappointed at the tap's failure to cooperate because at that time they think that taps are not cooperating with their enjoyment. Very soon, Miss would follow me without a lead and come to me when I called his name. Miss slowly, he became so nice pet. Whenever he used to call his name, Miss used to be with him. He spent most of his time in play. He really liked to play. He spent many hours shuffling a rubber ball around the room like a four-footed soccer player using all 4 feet to dribble the ball, and he could also throw it. Means Otter was perfect in playing a ball and he could dribble that, he could throw, he was expert in playing that. With a powerful flick of the neck to a surprising height and distance, means he could give one special movement with his neck at a great height and distance he could get to throw a ball. But the real play of an otter is when he lies on his back and juggles with small objects. But he enjoys one special play when he plays with small objects with his paws. Marbles were Miss' favorite toys for his pastime. Miss he used to enjoy playing with marbles. He would lie on his back, rolling two or more of them up and down his bite. Means his favorite game was playing marbles, flat belly without ever dropping one to floor. Means he was expert in not avoiding even a single marble. Now, textual questions are given. What experiment did Maxwell think Camus Fierna would be suitable for? Maxwell started thinking that he could get one otter from there because Camis was ringed by water a stone's throw from its door. So it could be nice spot to get this experiment to get one otter to make his pet. Now, Second question, why does he go to Basra? How long does he wait there and why? Yes, they means the author with his friend went to Basra to the consulate general to collect and answer their mail from Europe. But he couldn't get one mail because of one or another reason. First day, by chance, the line was out of order. Second day, this was closed for a religious holiday. Third day, he could get one another breakdown because his friend left and he promised that he would meet him just in weeks time, but ultimately he got his mail with one otter from his friend's site. So he had to wait for 1 week time there. Next question, how does he get the otter? Does he like it? Pick out the words that tell you this. Yes, he gets the otter with the help of his friend. His friend sent one mail with one sack with two Arabs, and it was kept in one sack with one special message written, here is your otter. Yes, he likes that because after that he says that his life was totally changed. One special sentence tells, with the opening of that sack began a phase of my life that has not yet ended and may, for all I know, not end before I do. Essay tells that the author was really excited and very, very happy to get that new pet, that is the otter. Why was the otter named Maxwell Otter? Yes, the otter was named Maxwell Otter because uh, in reality, that race was previously unknown to science and was at length questioned by geologist Lutro Gale per specilata Maxwelli or Maxwell's otter. So this was named after him, or Maxwell's otter. Now, fifth question, take the right answer. In the beginning, the otter was really aloof and indifferent. He wanted to be alone. He was not liking the company of the author. Actually, he needed time to befriend. Now, next question. What happened when Maxwell took Mijbil to bathroom? What did it do 2 days after that? When Maxwell took Mijbil to the bathroom, he was totally amazed to check the special craze of the otter for the water because he started jumping with joy in the water, plunging and rolling in it, shooting up and down the length of the bathtub underwater, and he was splashing in it. Then one special idea was got by the author that the otters really want water to be kept on the move and made to do things because they used to feel if water is static, it is wasted and provoking. Means water should be spread here or there to be enjoyed. Now, after 2 days, the author was surprised because the otter did not need any leading or any company. Rather, he went to the bathroom itself and he opened the chromium tap very easily with his paws. He was so happy. He started enjoying, and this was the best time when he used to get his bath. Now, third part, the days passed peacefully at Basra, means the author was very happy there, he was very comfortable. But I dreaded the prospect of transporting Miss to England and to California. But he was having one special terror, how he had to take Miss to England and then California. The British airline to London would not fly animals because the British airline did not allow in those days to fly animals. That's why he booked a flight to Paris on another airline, so he had to do that. And from there to London. Then the airline insisted, means it was pressurized, that meals should be packed into a box not more than 18 inches square. So this length was allowed, to be carried on the floor at his feet. Means he had to keep the bag at his feet. That's why he had a box made, and an hour before they started, he put the otter into the box so that he would become accustomed to it. Means so that his pet may be used to that, and left for a hurried meal. Then he became very quick in getting his meal. When he returned, there was an appalling spectacle. But after getting back, he got one shocking response, because there was full silence from the box, but from its air holes and chinks around the lid, blood had trickled. Otherwise, there was total silence. But blood was coming out and it dried. I whipped off the. Miss the author just checked the lock and tore open the lid. Then the lid had to be opened. Miss exhausted and blood spattered. Miss may be trying to get freedom from that box. That's why the blood was just lying here or there. He started whimpering, means he started crying in pain, and caught the author's leg. He had torn the lining of the box to shreds, means he had torn the lining of the box into many pieces. When he removed the last of that, so that there were no cutting edges left, means he really wanted to check that it may not be hurt more. It was just 10 minutes until the time of the flight, and the airport was 5 miles distant. Means he was in hurry, he was tensed. He put that miserable Mills is used because he was injured at that time. He put him back into the box, holding down the lid with his hand. Then he sat in the back of the car with the box beside, means near him, as the driver tore through the streets of Basra like a ricocheting bullet. Means he was moving with great speed. The aircraft was waiting to take off. Means at that time, his aircraft was waiting. I was rushed through to it by infuriated officials. Means he was just going forward, and his officials were angry with him. Luckily, by chance, the seat booked for me was at the extreme front. By chance, he got his special seat. He covered the floor around his feet with newspapers, rang for the air hostess, means he called the air hostess and gave her a parcel of fish for Miss to keep in a cool place. I took her into my confidence. Miss the author really took the help of the air hostess about the events of the last half hour. Means he shared everything. Then he had retained the most profound admiration for that air hostess. Means he got one special praise for that air hostess. She was the very queen of her kind. Means she was really kind girl. She suggested that I might prefer to have my pet on my knee. Then one suggestion was given that he should keep his pet on his knee only to make him comfortable. And I could have kissed her hand in the depth of my gratitude. At that time, the author was feeling so thankful that he wanted to kiss the hand of the air hostess. But not knowing otters, I was quite unprepared for what followed. Means because otter was new for him, he was not very clear about the nature of those creatures, so he was not fully prepared what could happen in future. So new thing happened with him, because it is given Miss was out of the box in a flash. Now Miss was again out of the box just in 1 minute. He disappeared at the high speed down the aircraft. There were squats, shrieks, means there were cries here or there, and a woman stood up on her seat screaming out. A woman was really feeling scared. She started saying, "A rat has come." I caught sight of Miss tail, but the author was clear that it must be his Miss, because his tail was disappearing beneath the legs of a portly white turbaned Indian, because his leg was just going under the his tail was going under the legs of one healthy white turbaned Indian. Diving for it, I missed but found my face covered in curry. Means when he was just searching for it, his face was covered in curry. Oh, perhaps, said the air hostess with the most charming smile, it would be better if you resumed your seat. At that time, air hostess was so nice. She started saying that the author should take his seat, because she would find the animal and would bring that for him. Then he returned to his seat, and he was craning his neck. Means he was just checking where his animal had gone, when suddenly he heard from my feet a distressed chitter of recognition and welcome, and he checked that his creature had come and it recognized him, and he bounced onto his knee and began to just rub his face and his neck with love. So one special idea is given that Miss ultimately found his real honor. Now, oral comprehension check. How was Miss to be transported to England? Yes, Miss was to be transported to England in a box, and it should be not more than 18 inches square, and it should be kept at his feet. Next question. What did Miss do to the box? But the box lining was torn by him. In this way, Miss was really injured. He was so irritated and he was so upset that he was crying in pain because he wanted his freedom for the first time he was in the flight. Next question. Why did Maxwell put the otter back in the box? How do you think he felt when he did this? Yes, Maxwell had to put the otter back in the box. He took proper care that cutting edges of the box would not hit or injure his Maxwell's otter again, but he was not feeling very good when he did this because he had a special love for him. But there was no other option because the animals couldn't be carried in any aeroplane without the box. So he had to do this. Next question. Why does Maxwell say the air hostess was the very queen of her kind? Yes, the air hostess was the very queen of her kind because she tried to understand the real situation of the otter. As Maxwell explained or shared each and everything what happened just 30 minutes before that his otter was injured, and air hostess was saying that it should be kept with him only. And she was very kind, and air hostess helped in every way. Next question. What happened when the box was opened? Yes, when the box was opened by the otter, that is Miss, then there were so many cries here or there. One woman just stood on her seat and she started crying that a rat had come. But the author Maxwell was very sure that his Miss wanted to get his freedom, and he started going here or there, and ultimately its tail was visible beneath the legs of one Indian who was wearing white turban. Slowly, the author started checking him. He wanted to get it back, but he was unable to do that. Then the air hostess specially said that she would help. Ultimately, Miss came himself to the author and he started touching him gently. Now, fourth part. After an eventful journey, Maxwell and his otter reached London, where he has a flat. Ultimately, they reached to their destination. Now, Mills and the author remained in London for almost 1 month. He would play for hours with a selection of toys, ping pong balls, marbles, rubber fruit, a terrapin shell that he had brought back from his native marshes. With the ping pong ball, he invented a game. Means one special game was made by his otter himself, which could keep him engrossed. Because of that, he used to be very busy for up to half an hour at one time. A suitcase that he had taken to Iraq had become damaged on the journey home, so that the lid, when closed, remained at a slope from one end to the other because it was damaged, and when it was closed, it remained at a slope from one end. So, Miss discovered one game. If we place the ball on the high end, it would run down the length of the suitcase. He would dash round to the other end to ambush its arrival. Means he used to attack silently, suddenly, crouching to spring up and take it by surprise. Then he used to take that, trot off with it to the high end once more. Means he started playing one game, inventing by himself. Outside the house, he exercised him on a lead precisely. And after that, the author used to do exercise. He used to lead him exactly as he could be with his dog. Miss quickly developed certain compulsive habits on these walks in London streets. Means he got some special habits that were not under control of the author, like the rituals of children who, on their way to and from school, must place their feet squarely on the center of each paving block, like children usually do whenever they go to school, whenever they come to school. Uh, Come back from their school, they make their games to place their feet here or there in every block when their parents are not willing to check that. So must touch every seventh upright of iron railing. Some student used to touch some iron railings or pass to the outside of every second lamp post. Sometimes they used to pass to the outside of one or another lamp post. Opposite to my flat was a single storied primary school. One incident is given how his otter used to behave like a small school child. Opposite to his home, there was one primary school that was single storied only, along whose frontage ran a low wall, some 2 feet high only. His wall not was very high on his way home, but never on his way out. Means when the otter used to go or come back to his home, only at that time he would tug me to this wall. Means the author had to stop there and he had to jump on that, gallop the full length of its 30 yards. Means he had to jump the full length of its 30 steps to the hopeless destruction both of peoples and of stuff within. Means he couldn't get the attention, but he used to play this game. It is not, I suppose, in any way strange that the average Londoner should not recognize an otter, but the variety of guesses as to what kind of animal this might be came as a surprise to me. Means this was really a surprise for him. Otters belong to a comparatively small groups of animals called mustelines, shared by the badger. Means they are small group of other animals like badger, mongoose, weasel, stork, mink, and others. So he faced a continuous barrage of conjectural questions that sprayed all the master lines, but the otter means he had many questions in his mind. So he had guesses about those questions. More random guesses hit on a baby seal and a squirrel. Is that a walrus, mister? Means many people used to make guesses and he had to laugh every time. Outside a dog show, I heard a hippo. One was saying it was hippo, a beaver, a bear cub, a leopard. One clearly, apparently means clearly, that had changed its spots. Means one was saying yes, it is leopard, and it had changed its spots only, its dots. And a brontosaurus, means was anything but an otter. But the author was surprised why the people were saying like this because he was just an otter. But the question for which I awarded the highest score came from a laborer digging a hole in the street. Means by chance the author was surprised because he was given this answer. I was still far from him when he laid down his tool, put his hands on his lips. Means one laborer once was totally surprised. He just placed his tool down and he put his hands on his hips because he was surprised. And he started staring, he started looking continuously to my otter. As I drew nearer, when the author came or went near that laborer, he saw his expression of surprise and affront. Means he was totally confused, as if he would have me know that he was not one upon whom to play jokes. Means he started playing jokes on me. I came abreast of him. Then the author went near by him. He spat. He started checking. Then glowed out. Then he started crying. Here, mister, what is that supposed to be? What is this with you? Means the author was totally surprised every time when people used to ask likewise questions from him. Now, oral comprehension check. First question: what game had Miss invented? Miss invented a special game for himself. He used to pass his time in this way. Yes, once by chance, a suitcase that the author had taken to Iraq. It was totally damaged on his journey home, and the lid was also damaged, but when closed, it remained at a slope from one end to the other. So Mitch discovered one special game. He used to place the ball on the high end and it would run down the length of the suitcase. He used to dash around to the other end to ambush its arrival. Then he used to hide, crouch, and spring up and take that ball by surprise. And he used to take that with a great force and again trot off with it to the high end once more. Like small children, he used to invent one game. Next one, what are the compulsive habits? What does Maxwell say are the compulsive habits of school children and miss? Compulsive habits are special habits that are not easily to be controlled by the parents even. It's like first, school children sometimes when they are just going to their school or sometimes when they are coming back from their school, they must place their feet squarely on the center of each paving block, or sometimes they used to touch every seventh upright of the iron railings. Sometimes used to pass to the outside of every second lamp post. Without any reason, they enjoy likewise games. These are called compulsive habits. Yes, as far as second question, Miss was concerned, Miss used to just jump to a small wall because the author's home was nearby a single storied primary school, and it had one small wall that was just of 2 feet high. Miss used to tuck the author to that wall, jump onto it, and gallop the full length of its 30 yards to the hopeless destruction both of pupils and of staff within. And the author was not able to check that. Now, third question: what group of animals do otters belong to? Yes, the otters belong to a comparatively small group of animals called mustelines, shared by the badger, mongoose, weasel, stoat, mink, and others. What guesses did the Londoners make about what Miss was? Yes, the Londoners were totally surprised, and every time they were confused. They used to make many guesses. Some used to say it was a baby seal or a squirrel. Others used to say that it was a walrus, then beaver, hippo, or a bear cub. Sometimes it was called a leopard that had changed its spots. And some used to say brontosaur even. And every time the author was surprised because the people used to make guesses. They were not bothered to know exactly from the author that it was just one author. Now, textual question. What things does Miss do which tell you that he's an intelligent, friendly, and fun loving animal who needs love? Yes, there are many things that tell that Miss is really very intelligent. Yes, Miss is very intelligent because he invented one special game with the author's suitcase because he got one slope, and with that slope he used to enjoy the ball just placing at the slope and resting at the other end and grabbing it an intelligent way. He was very friendly because every time he used to come or nudge the author in a nice way. Then we can say he was fun loving animal because he used to invent many games. He used to enjoy special bath in the bathtub, and he wanted that water should be moving every time. It should never be static because it can make him angry. Second question: what are some of the things we come to know about otters from this text? Yes, we know that the otters are really very intelligent. They every time want life from different activities, like from water. The otters want that it should be moving, it should be spread every time here or there. There should be liveliness. And second idea, otters are very friendly. They don't want to be imprisoned. Last idea, they really love many games. They can pass their time by inventing different games. They really need love only. Next, why is Miss Fishy now known to the world as Maxwell Otter? Is its species known to the world as Maxwell Otter because earlier it was unknown to science and was at length questioned by geologists Lutro Gale Perspicillata Maxwelli or Maxwell's otter. That's why it is now known to the world as Maxwell's otter.